Before we get started, maybe little introductions here. So if you can provide us a little background on why you started the company and a little bit about yourself, what motivated you to start it, kind of helps set the context for this conversation.
For sure, yeah. So, I've always been interested in building products that are simple, intuitive, and scalable. One of my goals is to make products that reach 1 billion people. So, and I also love building things. So, throughout university, I started going to hackathons, and that's when I realized, I love making things, getting together in a team, solving some problems and whatnot. So so in the last 6 years, like I've spent 3.5 years working full time on my own startups. I just have that itch to build something new. So in my latest startup, Myreader, I built it because I see so much curated knowledge out there in terms of books, articles, videos, courses, whatnot, and there is no easy way to get through it. There's search engines which you can use to like find quick answers, but like, what about the millions of books that are created with so much effort? And the only way to get through them is you go find a book, read through it, and it's a very inefficient, slow, annoying process. So that's why I built Myreader, where right now you can just upload all your books and you can talk to your library, you can jump to the exact pages. So it saves you a lot of time, makes it very efficient. And then eventually I'll add more and more to the platform to make it really like one of the best reading and learning platforms out there.
Got you. So you said this is your third startup. You've run two
This is
before.
my third startup. Yeah.
Wow. In last 3 years, 3.5 years.
Yeah, last 6 years. Yeah. So I
Wow.
did a startup right out of school
Mm-hmm.
with two of my friends. Did it for like a year. And that's actually where the idea for Myreader was sort of started. That's how I got into natural language processing because my undergrad was in biomedical engineering. So that's how I switched to AI. And then during COVID, I just saw an opportunity to do a yoga platform.
Okay.
So yeah, I built a yoga platform and that processed over $100,000 in transactions, hosted more than 4,000 classes. Um, so yeah, that was a great experience. And then now, now I'm doing this.
Cool. So, I mean, you've been through two, and this is your third one. It takes a toll on you, right? Doing each one of these. And I bet you've run both of them at least for a year, right? Before you decided to move on. So,
Yeah,
what were those learnings from those past two that you are now trying to ensure, and it has helped you, right, to reach where you
yeah,
have with my reader?
yeah. I think first one I realized, um, like we were, this was our first time doing a startup and we just kept switching ideas every 2 months. So we went through this journey of, like pivoting until we hit something that works and nothing really worked. And that's when I realized like it's better to, number one, work on an idea that you personally connect with. So with our first startup, we were just like, hey, here's this cool AI technology. Where can we apply it? But we never really cared about any of those domains that we were applying in,
Mm-hmm.
like clinical trials, medical research, whatnot. Like it wasn't like we really understood the problem or we really cared about it. That was the first startup. So the first startup, I realized I need to work on something that I personally connect with. So I'm not, first of all, I'll understand the problem better. And number two is, and I won't give up that easily. So that was a learning for the first one. And then uh, also I realized I need to do it in a way that I don't burn out. So um the first startup, like after 10 months I was just burned out. Like for 2 months I did nothing after that. So I started getting into like meditation, yoga, Abhishek, uh yeah, man. So yeah, I started going to meditation, yoga, whatnot. Um and I now have a consistent daily practice that keeps me um in a state where I get refreshed every day so I don't burn out. And then the second startup, the learning was uh, we had a good product, the yoga platform. We had a good product. Hey man, how's it going?
Long time no
Um,
see, man. Long time no see.
yeah,
Continue,
long time.
continue.
Exactly. Good to see you. Um, so yeah, I was just talking about my experience in my previous two startups and like what I learned. Um, so yeah, the first one was like I learned I need to work on something I personally connect with because and because I just kept switching ideas on the first one. I think I even met you while I was working on the first one. At Mac, I was still in Hamilton.
Yeah, I remember
And
because you were always super like laser focused in what you were doing. I remember it from that angle. My mind was in a different like on a different planet altogether, but like I remember that you were super focused. And I remember talking to you as well, like you were working on some kind of like an app or something like that at that time. So you would not be available for like majority of like wherever we guys were at. So, but
yeah,
some sacrifices you make for like a bigger something better in that sense, right? So
exactly.
always
Yeah, so
respect, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
thanks,
so
man.
you guys are
Thanks.
connected, looks like, right? You know each other well.
We went to the same university.
Oh,
So
oh.
he knows me from 2016, 17.
And you
It's
are
been a
based in
while.
Canada as well, Abhishek?
What's that now?
Are you based in Canada as well?
I am, sir. I'm in Toronto. What about whereabouts are you based out of?
Same San Francisco Bay Area, so that's how we met a local event. Cool. Okay, yeah.
Got it.
So sorry, Prasann. I think yeah,
Yeah.
interrupted
All good,
you.
all good. No, it's all good. Yeah, so yeah, first startup wanted to work on something, I personally connected. That's what I learned. And then second startup, yoga platform, I learned um i- having a good business model is important because I had a product that was working, people wanted it, there were instructors using it, but we had a bad business model where we were like, we'll charge 10% commission. And that really turned away the good instructors that were making $5,000 a month because they're like, I don't want to pay $500 to you
Uh,
know, a software platform. So, so that turned off. So instead, if we had like a plan with like $100 a month and with like 1% or something, they would have been more, interested. And then, yeah, so it was a bad business model. I think we didn't raise soon enough. I had zero network and we were growing like doubling every month for like 6 months. And we should have raised. I'm always laser focused on building. So like I never, and I had zero network. So I never, you know, so if we raised money, we could have hired a team and like grew it a lot faster and taken over the market and probably would have had an exit. Um, but since we didn't raise, at some point things slowed down and like we didn't have a team, so it was too hard to manage. So yeah, so but yeah, it was a great experience, and also made me a lot better developer to be able to build Myreader and be able to make it scalable.
awesome. No, I think those
Um,
two experiences kind of, if I were to summarize, one is resonate with the problem statement, right? You personally resonate. The second is understanding of the business model. Probably you didn't have a lot of clarity, and then that kind of did not go well. Um, so now, having done two, did you think your challenges were less with MyReader, or were you still encountered challenges and you still discovered new challenges?
I mean, yeah, there are a lot of challenges with Myreader. I think having done two, number one, like this time I decided to go solo because I'm like, I already done two, and then, I care about the problem and I didn't see the need for a co-founder. Like in the Valley, the conventional wisdom is get a co-founder.
Right.
Um, but because I had done two, I had the business experience, the tech experience, everything, and this was an idea like I really cared about, and I didn't know anyone else who did, right? And it was in my head for 4 years. So I'm like, doesn't make sense for me to get a co-founder, right? If I was just like, hey, I want to do a startup, I don't know the idea, like it would have made more sense.
Mm.
Um, so it's a number one, I did it solo, and then that was a good decision. And then with Myreader challenges, eh, distribution wise, I have not had a huge challenge with Myreader because I understood the problem very well, and like because I personally connected with it, I built it in a way. I don't know, like the product was good from product connected with the audience from day one, like where they were like, okay, this solves my problem, of reading books. Business model wise, I still had challenges. So I was good at developing product at that point. I was still like learning to build a good business model around a B2C product. And that took a little bit. So initially I had a beta for 2 months without like you had to have a code to sign up, which was a wrong decision. I should have just put it
Open it.
out in the open. Yeah. So anyone can sign up. I did it to make sure it's available before I put it out there. So maybe it wasn't too bad, but I think code was not the right idea. I should have just put it out. And then number two, I should have started charging from like within 1 month. I started charging after 2 months, which was also like very slow. And the other thing was I should have started annual plans right away. I started annual plans in August. So I started charging in May. It was just monthly plans. I started annual plans in August, and annual plans are like the hack to, yeah, like make a lot of money. Better for
Money and
consumers too,
maybe
because
retention as well, I hope, right? I mean,
retention, exactly. So I only started like end of August, September annual plans. So that was a mistake. And the moment I started annual plans, I started making a lot more money. And then I also was charging very less. So I had a plan that was $5 a month, and another that was $20 a month. And the disparity was too much. And I was also attracting, I mean, not attracting, but like, yeah, people were just getting the $5 plan. Very few were getting $20. And then in November, I think October actually, I'm like, okay, I can't afford this. So I wasn't breaking even until October. And I'm like, okay, I can't afford this. I need to make it a little higher, so I made it $8 a month, and suddenly that doubled my revenue. So I still got the same number of subscribers. The people that were paying $5 a month, like, I didn't change their pricing, but the new ones, I still got the same number of new subscribers. And they were suddenly like, my revenue suddenly doubled. And then it also made the $20 a month plan more valuable, right? Because you get 5x the value. Yeah, so the distribution has been there. I launched on Product Hunt. That also helped me get a lot of distribution. Business plan wise, that was the thing. And then tech wise, I had to make it more scalable. And then I also had to make sure I don't get too excited by the advancements in AI. It's very hard to not use all the latest models and all keep up and whatnot and be like, oh, this is better. I mean, so that's why I have a very high profit, because like I don't try too hard on the tech right now, because it's good enough.
right.
So I'm like, it's good enough for consumers. Why reinvent the wheel? And why spend a lot more money, and why focus too hard on the tech? So I just focused on the UX more than the tech.
Sure.
And one of the main reasons people use Myreader over others was the UX is very nice, simple, intuitive. There's better tech with some of the other platforms, I think. Uh, Nothing is like 5x better, but like there's better tech, but people love the UX. And that was a decision that was not an easy one to make, being in the valley where everyone is like, oh, what are you doing? But it gave me good distribution.
Sure. So far, what are those major milestones that you have achieved, right? Or achievements that you would like to like highlight, right, from my reader perspective? What all have you done so far? Like key from product release to first customer acquisition to whatever X multiple X growth, right? So if you can share some of those.
For sure, yeah. So I have 70,000 registered users every day, 3 to 500 users sign up. I don't do anything. So number one, I've gotten a product that just grows organically, which has always been my ideal. I always like great product first, and I would like products that spread through word of mouth. So I'm glad I'm able to achieve that. So yeah, 70,000 active users, 500 signups today. Revenue wise, it's grown 20%, more than 20% every single month ever since I started. And then I have like 10,000 monthly active users. And yeah, 1.2K daily active. Yeah, and it's almost doubled in the last 3 months. So it's like the growth keeps improving. It's not like stagnant. And yeah, and the best part is like the platform's running on autopilot. So I keep adding small features, I keep maintaining it. Like it's just been one person team, but like it's very scalable. So that's what I love. Like the platform's very scalable.
That's phenomenal what you've like been able to achieve so far. And I like the point that you went through two startups. This time you realized that you wanted to do it all by yourself as a single founder. So you are more in a driving seat. But now you have gotten here. Now from here on, right, to get to the next stage, there has to be a company building, right? So far you've done a
Yeah,
product, you built a product.
yeah.
Now you got to build a company. So where do you see that happening, and what really is needed here for you to now put it like a company out there, right, that can scale, grow many X than what you've already done so far?
For sure. So my intention was always to build a company. So it was never to just have a product just for myself. And I mean, I could actually make it a great business for myself, which makes a lot of money. I can like keep traveling the world, right? Go to Switzerland tomorrow, and I can actually just chill for 2 months and it will still keep growing. It's at that stage and
Yeah.
make enough money. Like so I can chill for the summer, go to Europe, but I don't want to do that. My plan is always to build it into a company. And I love working in teams. The reason I worked on this solo was because I often get put in the tech guy bucket, just tech guy knows how to code, doesn't know how to raise money or sell it or whatnot. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, get a business co-founder, whatnot." For me, I wanted to like prove I can do this by myself, everything, and grow this, and also do the business side, and also. So I proved that so far. I hope. And now that I've proved that, now that I have like a sustainable, growing business, and now I can get the team and raise money on my terms. So that's why now I'm raising. And in terms of company, so I already have people in mind. So I'm hiring a team of 3, an NLP engineer, a full stack developer, and a head of growth. And right now, there's a lot of competitors out there, but most of them are just like indie projects. And then there's like ChatGPT with PDF upload or whatnot, but they're not gonna have a UX for learning. So
Right.
it's the perfect time to back the right product, and it can take over the market. So I want to hire these 2 people first, NLP engineer, full stack developer, and I already talked to them. I've worked with them in the past, and they're ready to join the team. Improve the product for the next 3 months, and then in September do a big push for university students, like a big marketing push. And just within like 1 year, probably less. So I'm raising 1 million. Within 1 year, we're gonna have 1.1 million in ARR, with that plan. Probably within 6 months, but within 1 month. So it's gonna be a 90% profit margin. So 90% profit margin. So it's gonna make 1 million in profit in a year from now. We'll have 3 people on the team, so it'll be self-sustaining, profitable business, and then we'll have some proprietary NLP tech, like natural language processing, that gives answers based on any curated knowledge. That could be used for many different use cases. I haven't even explored B2B. I get emails every day on like, hey, can I use this for my company? Can I, upload this and use it for client facing? I haven't even explored that area. But even if I just capture 0.05% of the students in US, I'm gonna make $1 million in AR within 1 year.
That's I think that crystal clear thought process in terms of the team that you want to hire, the kind of skill sets you want to bring, and what you're gonna do with the money, right? I think those are very critical key points. And where do you want to be in that terms of next milestone? I think very crucial for investors that might watch this, right? To know where are you headed with this, right? Because of the question is always, if I put in money on Prasann, right, where is it going? Am I getting my returns in next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? But I like the way that you're approaching it. You're trying to turn it profitable right from the
Yeah,
get, right? So I think, and especially in today's market, it becomes even more important because investors look at startup and then look at the stock market. The stock market is yielding, you saw Nvidia's results on Wednesday, right? So people would, and that's liquid cash versus you giving it to a startup founder, you are stuck for another 4, 5 years or 10 years, right? So I think
exactly.
that's a very, very good way to look at it. Look at it purely from a business person perspective. Look at it of running a business from a profitability, self-sustainability perspective, right? Obviously, you want growth and hyper growth and whatnot, but I think in today's market, profitability becomes key. So I love that aspect of yours, the way you're thinking through, right? Obviously, there
Thank you.
are challenges, ups and downs all along the way, but I'm sure investors
And
look at this for sure are going to find it very, very worthwhile investing or look at the returns that they can get out of it.
thank you. Yeah. And again, that's why I want head of growth, because I don't want it to affect growth too, but like, and I'll grow fast too. But again, it's an unheard thing in the valley where it's like you're profitable and also growing like that. That's,
Yeah.
90% profit. But so far I've been doing just fine. Like 1 year I have 70,000 registered users, and just with a bit of marketing, I can like take this to the,
And I think it's also
shoot
to
it up.
bootstrapping, right? Because you've been in control so far. You've been at your terms, right? Building this, growing this, and you can continue to do going forward. I think that's the best way to do build
Yeah.
business today, right? So yeah, I think I've got quite a list of questions, so I keep looking up here. So not just generally, so I get so the people that you're hiring, not from a product development perspective, right? So people like for the NLP engineer or for the full stack developer that you're hiring, can
Mm.
you walk us through the process, right, of how you started, where you got through, and then how do you make it product market ready, right? You started building something. There is the traditional way of doing it where you, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do some user design, workflows, user journey maps, and then build it out, prototype, and then get to the MVP, right? So if you can walk us and explain, right, how did you go through that process of building this product and making it ready?
uh, I mean, the first version or how I do now?
Yeah, I mean, how you have done it and how would you do it
Okay,
different?
sure. I think for me, like I like to design the interfaces myself. So I mean, of course, I'm one person team, so I'm doing everything. But the product development process from the beginning. So again, this was an idea in my head for 4 years.
Right.
I actually wrote the first code in mid 22. So I launched in March last year, but like the first code just started working on it as like a side project. Hey, it's a fun side project. Um, and again, it came from like a personal problem. So I'm like, I want to build this for myself. So I was the first user. What do I want? I think that's the best way to build it, and that's how you know what to build, right? So I build it from the perspective of myself, like what do I want, while keeping in mind how this could be scalable to others, right? So you don't just need to build for yourself, because if you just build for yourself, you can build a very specific product. But now, yeah, while keeping in mind what others want as well and what can I make it scalable. So that was the approach. And then yeah, in terms of building, like I'm not like a great front end developer, so I just found a template. Um, I don't even use the latest tools right now, like the Next.js, whatnot. Like it's a vanilla JavaScript and Bootstrap, but like that's what I'm comfortable with. So I just used it because that was the fastest way to do it.
Sure.
And yeah, so just use a template, and then I designed it myself on how I want it. And I've gotten a good eye over time over simplicity and intuitive interface. Um, and it's not always easy to do it, because there's always like, once you get the product out there, there's always people asking like, I want this feature, that feature, that feature, that feature. And for me, I always want, like, simplicity is number one for me wherever, whatever I build. if it's complicated, and even if it solves a problem, I won't do it.
So we just have
So
about 2 minutes, Prasann, to wrap
yeah,
up. So some rapid fire questions for you. So from a
sure.
technology and tools perspective, right, what is indispensable for you, like that you use on a daily basis and you think are the most valuable, right?
I use Airlight. It's a
Okay.
browser that I mean I helped create, and my my friend from Canada created. It's a browser. It's like a spotlight search for different AI tools. Um, it's indispensable. Like if he takes it away, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'll give you like $200. Give me this. Yeah. I
That's
use it I guess I don't use a second screen, so I don't like switching back and forth in browsers. So yeah.
okay. And then from a, see, you said you were an engineer and you always had an engineering mind, but you brought it to a level of whatever 70,000, that's commendable, right? So any
Thank you.
marketing strategy tips that worked for you, right? A lot of marketers, sales people out there work in a very traditional mindset, where as an entrepreneur, you're always trying to figure out a way to do it, right? And then you come out with a way that's no one ever really thought. So any tips there, right, that you really found out that worked for you?
Launch on product 10, number one, right?
Okay.
And try to make it a good launch. But the best thing about this is, again, I kept things simple. I think people like simple products, right? Even if it has less features. And the product was the main thing. And I built it for myself, so I knew what I want, what messaging I would like to see on the website. So that's what I put the messaging out, what I would like to see, and then yeah, just kept it simple, kept the sign up to be simple, nothing complicated. Um, so yeah, product was still the main thing where I'm like, even if I just give a little bit of push, it will get there. And then if you're a tech founder, like be active on Twitter,
Okay.
X, Twitter. Just, there's a huge community. People are ready to test, and also be part of communities. So there's a lot of founder communities. I'm part of Be on Deck, and I was part of some communities here. So like whenever I launched it, I just posted everywhere, and all of those people actually upvoted and replied. So be part of communities. That's very helpful.
Okay. Last two, what is the future here from now? What is the future? Where do you see your company next for your company?
Yeah. Yeah, number one, I just want to make this the best tool ever for students. That's the lowest hanging fruit. I have 70% students using my platform, and even if I get 1% of students, that's 20 million in annual revenue, just in US. Number two is I want to build the best NLP, natural language processing engine, on top of books. So all the systems right now that work on top of curated knowledge are very basic, where they pull the top five relevant sections based on your questions and then use that to answer, but that's not good enough. So I want to build the best engine which can be used for a lot of use cases, like for doctors, for lawyers, for anyone going through any kind of curated knowledge. So
So any personal books, resources, podcasts that you personally go through on a basis that you would like to share with audience and even myself, I would love to know, right? What do you really go through?
I listen to All In podcast. I love it every Friday. These are four guys from the Valley, right? And then Beer Biceps. He's an Indian podcaster. Yeah, I haven't been reading a lot of books because I have Myreader now. um, so I just upload books there. But yeah, I think that's what I go through mostly. And then very active on Twitter. I think Twitter is the best thing that ever happened over the last year. It helped me stay in touch with tech community, and also I learned so much from other people sharing on Twitter. So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah,
This has been fabulous. I think lots of insights that you have shared here. I'm going to curate some of that. And I think in very good tips here for founders. And I think investors that are watching this is a great opportunity for them to come and join. And yeah, I mean, help, like you said, the student community out there, right? That can leverage AI the way it should, and obviously make money out of it, right? So thank you
exactly,
so much.
exactly.
Thanks for joining in.
Thanks now. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for Abhishek. Yeah.
thanks, Abhishek, for joining in.